we'll start with To My Dear and Loving Husband. Because it's short, I'll be able to read the whole thing. And I just want you to see how I'm thinking out loud. I want you to see the things that I'm noticing. So I'm going to be noticing structure. I'm going to be noticing theme. And this big question is, how does the narrator describe their relationship? So I'm going to be thinking about how the narrator describes that relationship of love between her and her husband. Honestly, this is like hashtag couple goals all the way, if you don't mind my verbal hashtag there. Hashtag. She is super in love with her husband, and she compares him to things. She compares her love to things. And thinking about theme, I want to figure out, okay, how is she building her identity with her husband? All right. So, To My Dear and Loving Husband by Anne Bradstreet, 1678. Anne Bradstreet, also known, her last name was Dudley, 1612 to 1672, was the most famous of early English poets in her time and the first published female writer in the British North American colonies. So this, of course, was back when we had colonies. Addressed to Bradstreet's husband, the poem depicts the intimacy of a couple deeply in love. As you read, take notes on the structure and themes of the piece, and how does the narrator describe their relationship? Because you'll notice you have those assessment questions that you have to keep in mind as you're reading. So we'll look at those in a second. All right. Here we go. To My Dear and Loving Husband. If ever two were one, then surely we. If ever man were loved by wife, then thee. If ever wife was happy in a man, compare with me, ye women, if you can. I prize thy love more than the whole mines of gold, or all the riches that the east doth hold. My love is such that rivers cannot quench, nor aught but love from thee give recompense. Thy love is such I can no way repay, the heavens reward thee manifold, I pray. Then while we live, in love let's so persevere, that when we live no more, we may live ever. And that's it. So it's pretty short. You'll notice we've got 13 lines. Because here's line 10, 11, 12. Oh, sorry, 12 lines. My bad. You've got 12 lines, and you have basically one stanza. So if we notice how the structure of the piece is, visually you can see that gold is set off by itself. You can see that hold is set off by itself here, and you can see that quench is also set off by itself here. So she made, whoops. So I'm going to highlight those three things. My camera is getting in the way. So she made that decision on purpose to have the first half kind of bunched up, to have the middle a little spread out, and to have the bottom half kind of bunched up. Okay, so that structure is important. Also, when you're thinking about structure, you want to think about repetition. So I'm going to have to move my camera again. But you have your repetition in the first line here with, if ever two were one, then surely we. If ever man, here, I want to do ever as well. If ever man were loved by wife, then thee. And if ever wife was happy in a man, compare with me, ye women, if you can. Okay, so remember, this is a poem written to her husband, and it's talking about how deeply in love they are. Okay, so we've got repetition for the structure. We have it a little spaced out in the middle here, and then we have it bunched up at the bottom. So some other things we can notice about structure are obviously going to be our rhyme scheme. So you'll notice with repay here and pray, those go into the rhyme scheme in that third section there. So like a beginning and a middle and an end, I guess. You can think of love that way too, and you can think of relationships having that beginning, that middle, and that end. Then they want us to think about the theme of the piece. So really wonder, okay, how is the narrator building their love and talking about it, and how does it relate to the identity? What is her identity? So hopefully I'll be able to give you feedback on these soon. Just work through your packet as you get it. If you wait for me to post videos, then you are just running the risk of not being able to do it with enough time to finish in case we need to start something else in a week or so. So just try to work about 30 minutes a day on English, reading the packet, reading whatever questions you have in there, answering your questions. If you get finished in 30 minutes, then that's awesome. If you don't finish in 30 minutes, just pick up where you left off the next day.